Hello. Today I've decided to pick three books that relate in one way, shape, or form to our current situation. It's not so much about design and conflict so much, but about the home and the home space and how I think design has responded. There are three very different responses. So I'll start with the Zonefeld house, which is a home built in, started in, I think, 29 and eventually finished in 1933 in Rotterdam, which you can visit when you can visit things, which is not now. And it's obviously a modernist home. It was a home built for quite an eccentric family who were quite wealthy, chucked everything they own, moved into this new build, which had all the newest furniture and newest furniture from local designers. I'm just going to talk about one piece because I'll come back, I think, to this in future books. But this is the entrance to the home. So already quite neutral, quite simple. And then this is, once you go in, this is little entrance. What I think is interesting about this is actually the rest of the home where you're supposed to go into and see your host is upstairs. And so the idea is the landing is there for you to take off your coat, take off your boots. There's a bathroom there for you to freshen up. In our case, wash our hands. And then once you feel like you're ready, you can go upstairs. And I think these little landings and these little spaces are bigger than the sort of quintessential little Japanese first sort of pre-floor before you go into a home. But there are also spaces that we've completely either destroyed or don't have anymore. It's not really built into the average home. So it's interesting to think about what we might build in the future. The second reference that I have is a program during the Second World War called Utility Scheme. And this was essentially a scheme to give out licenses to build quote unquote good enough furniture for people who lost their homes because the homes had been bombed. The secondhand furniture market went crazy, so everything got really expensive. And so the idea was the government stepped in, and this is a reasonably tiny publication, but very well illustrated. It stepped in to give guidelines as to what good enough quality furniture should be about. It gave designs, and then it gave licenses to manufacture to very specific people. And so you might recognize some of these objects from pieces of furniture that you have around you now. This one I have owned in the past. It's a little table. And these also extended to textiles. It also extended to fashion and to patterns of for dresses and all sorts of things like that. And a lot of important designers got involved in drawing up these frameworks or these patterns, if you will. And this book gives you the kind of history behind it, and it's quite good. And then the last one is one of my favorite graphic designers, actually, is Tibor Kalman, who died a few years ago, but his widow is still alive and well. And he worked predominantly in New York. He worked on a lot of interesting advertising campaigns, but the most interesting work I think he did was for Colors magazine. And Colors magazine was and still is a magazine published by Benetton in Italy. And his campaigns specifically for the HIV crisis were very interesting. They were in the late 80s, early 90s, and it was all about communication of the facts, communication of the science, communication around how things did spread, didn't spread, etc. And he got very graphic in a way. Some of this I might not show you in case they ban this video, but he's really worth checking out. He was a really extraordinary graphic designer, and just sounded like a really nice guy. So 3 completely different approaches to what we've got today. Enjoy.